Welcome to Informe, a social media conversation for Thursday, April 24th. I'm Nate Manahan.
And I'm Dustin Hickle.
Hey, today we're going to take a really special episode where we look at all kinds of businesses across the United States that we've never looked at before and talk about social media. We're going to go to
Athens, Georgia, Portland, Oregon, Kansas City, Missouri, and then we're going to stay local
And
right
talk-
here in Warsaw, Indiana.
Absolutely. All this right on Informe, a social media conversation. Keep watching. Welcome back to another Informe. We're doing this live and we want people to watch. And so our goal I'm going to say this out loud and you can put this in 2 months. I want to see 50 people watching us live when we do this. And so we're having some technical issues when we do this. It takes some technical team to kind of help us figure out what we're doing. But what we really want is Informe and Salcha and everything to be an interaction. We want to cover things and talk about things and dream about things that are not what we want to talk about, but what you guys want to talk about. So we hope that you do that with us. But as we do that, we're going to start this week. This is my favorite type of episode. This is the second time we've done this, where we look at some small businesses that we have no connection to, have never heard of up until 2 days ago. How I literally find them is we go to a Chamber of Commerce and randomly choose people that are members of Chambers of Commerce in cities that I think are interesting that day.
Yeah.
And then we look at their social media and we're going to analyze it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and see what we do. But as we start out, let's start out with, I found a great SlideShare. And you know I love SlideShare.
Yeah.
So I shared it with you. And
You're a huge fan.
first, it uses some language that as its title, just to be a little controversial.
Sure.
But
We
its
like to
point
be a little
is
edgy
what?
sometimes.
What is
Well,
it?
All right, the point of this SlideShare basically is that people in general, especially businesses, large businesses and small businesses alike, think that the amount of followers that you have is your biggest measurement of how well you're doing on social media, and that's completely off base.
Yeah.
This SlideShare really did an awesome job telling us how far off that is, and why it's important to notice that and to pay attention to that. So we'll find a few slides here. You can click and find the ones that you want here.
Well, let's put in, so Mackenzie Fogelson, we don't know her, but she apparently runs MacWebSolutions.com. Give her credit for the company that she's running. And she is a proud blogger for Moz, conductor and featured speaker at MozCon, Search Love, and other top industry conferences. And what she goes on to say is, look, I've been working really hard for 24 months at trying to build my brand and build my followership. And I don't have 20,000 followers. I don't have 100,000 followers. I think after 24 months...
It's 2,800 and... Where's that number? Hold on, we got to find the slide.
2,851 when she posted this.
After 2 years of, from what she describes, pretty intense, labor-intensive work on Twitter.
She was blogging. She was doing all kinds of things, interconnected, all the things that we would say are best practices.
Yep.
And she doesn't have this huge, giant following. You don't see the 1 million. She's not a verified account. But... what she did say was what?
Well, she saw over each of the 2 years that she was doing this, making these efforts, she saw 40% revenue growth in each of those years.
And really, when you're starting to say, okay, what is the ROI, what is the end result that we're hoping for when we're using social media, when we're building community, when we're giving, and then we're asking? It's revenue growth.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
That's really the change. And so it doesn't matter. We can track till we're blue in the face how many people are talking to us or even how many people are following us and how many robots in Indonesia are rapidly so excited about all the things we do and they retweet.
Right.
Or we can take it back and say after 2 years, I've gained these many followers and at the end of the day, I have 40% revenue growth.
Yeah, she also shows over 1,300% web traffic, and just those two statistics by themselves, they're just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Yes, you spent lots of time and you spent lots of energy blogging and speaking. She says she spoke at all kinds of different events, etc., and she saw 40% revenue growth. Yeah. That's huge, and that's worth the effort.
Right. And what I thought about this is we're going in to look at small businesses. I'm going to look at some unique small businesses. It's not about how big the numbers grow and how many followers you have. It's the engagement that you're getting. As we look at small businesses, looking at your numbers, really that is blowing snow. She uses other language. But what we really want to get to is how is what we're doing in social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Pinterest, on Instagram, whatever we're using, and the time we're spending on the platform, at the end of the day, is it increasing revenue? Is it increasing website traffic? Is it increasing the things we want to measure? And that follower number, we can go out there and fake that. We know that.
Absolutely.
So let's not do that. Let's look at real data. So
just an encouragement to you before we move on too far. The chances of seeing 40% revenue growth from just social media aren't that high.
And definitely not overnight. I mean,
Right.
we're talking years of work, depending on your products and what you're doing and how interconnected naturally you are. But it's not something, in 6 months, you're not going to see that type of growth from being on social media.
Yeah, so for you small businesses out there, don't give up on it. Even if you spent 3 years, 5 years, and you're not seeing these large numbers, the important thing is that you are there, but if you're doing it right, you should see some growth and be able to measure that revenue. So even if it's 1, 2, 5%, that's better than losing revenue because you're not on social media. So keep it in perspective. Just because she saw 40% growth doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to see that, and we will never guarantee that. But you have to keep going. You have to keep learning and developing, and always be experimenting. We learned that on the webinar that we watched from HubSpot yesterday. Always be experimenting, trying something new, try different times of the day to post things, but you're not going to get it overnight. Yeah. And so you have to make sure that you're making the effort and taking the time and not getting impatient and giving up. That is so crucial. You cannot miss that point.
Yeah. Well, this week, like we said, we're going to look at 3 companies that I found. One in Portland, Oregon, one in Athens, Georgia, and one in Atlanta? No, Athens, it's the I already forget. We'll look at through them as we look through.
And Brookshire. I have no idea where that is.
Kansas City. Yes,
good.
That's it. I'd forgotten where I went. And so literally how I found these, I type in Chamber of Commerce in 3 cities that I know of and go to their Chamber of Commerce site and try to find unique businesses and go to their websites and see what their social media is.
Yep.
And so we're calling out to them and interacting with them, and maybe they've noticed that we tag them on Twitter and we might comment on their Facebook page. Jimmy over here, one of our social media strategists, he may jump in and do that. We're going to start out in Kansas City, Missouri. And what is Kansas City, Missouri known for? Barbecue and other things, and candles.
Apparently.
So,
apparently.
Here's what I love. Actually, I like candles, and I have candles in my office recently.
You do regularly.
And my candle warmer, I don't like it because I feel bad about burning them, and because I'm also nervous that I'm going to leave it burning overnight. So I had a nice candle warmer, and it stopped working this week.
Oh.
So I was really disappointed about that, and so I haven't been able to make the office smell like cupcakes this week.
Yeah, geez, the one of them smells like birthday cake. Like, all of us kept walking around the office thinking someone brought cake in one time. But this company that we're talking about, they're called 5B and Company Candle Makers. And I think, from what I'm seeing, from what I've just done, kind of a brief, quick overview of what they do, they have a lot of interaction. Most of their posts have tons of interaction. They have 2,645 likes. But there are a few things they can change, or a few things they do well, and let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's just see what they do.
So have you found their Twitter yet?
I have not found a Twitter account.
Yeah, and
them.
so what's interesting here, first, 5B and Candle and Company is you should be on Twitter. If you have a following of 2,645 people that are interacting with you, you're leaving money on the table. Not instant money, like we just said, in revenue, but you're leaving community, there's things you can do through Twitter that you can't do on Facebook, and you're leaving people that like Twitter. Yeah. So you should be involved in Twitter. That's my first thing. Now, here, Mr. Hickle.
Uh-oh.
Let's look at their Facebook page.
Okay.
And let's start by, what do you feel about their cover photo and their profile picture on their Facebook page?
These are things that I harp on pretty hard. I actually like their profile photo. Yeah. I think it's kind of unique. I think it's probably one of their boxes that they package candles in, but it's got their logo on it and a really nice,
I think it's actually a Matchbox.
Is it a Matchbox?
A Matchbook.
Oh, you're right. It is a Matchbox.
Which I thought was really great. You couldn't tell right away, but I looked at it. It's a creative picture of their Matchbook, whatever, the old school little paper Matchbooks with their logo on it.
Yeah, so that's really sharp. It's really nice. It's creative, but it also has their logo on it. So that's something that we talk about on the show a lot. That's great.
And here's something I think, and I think this about Salcha too. We're getting, a Facebook, and I was looking at our Facebook page, and I was like, if you can come up with a creative way to make your logo as part of the profile picture, and I've seen companies, they'll have a guy with their T-shirt, with the logo on, but to put that person in the picture, and it's just, sometimes nose to navel, and I thought that was pretty cool, nose to navel. Or the Matchbook cover, sometimes it's a mug with the logo on it. If it's something that gives a little bit depth to it, instead of just the logo, so it's not just a flat, here's my JPEG of my logo.
Yeah,
and I like that. And then it blends in, because there are those who do the profile picture actually blends in and is part of what's going on in the cover photo. This is not one of those.
No, this is not.
But they have a call to action nearly, I don't know, it's not a call to action, but it's simply a welcoming statement.
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome to 5B and Company Candle Makers. Quality, unique candles that you'll love. I mean,
Yeah.
Kind of fitting their feel and their brand, apparently, from what I can see later on in posts. It's a little bit pixelated. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And, that's something that, if someone's coming quickly, they're going to see it, and it's not going to be their first thought. I look for those sorts of things, so it's probably just me.
And it looks like to me like the resolution is higher on the profile picture than it is on the crop.
The discrepancy.
And
is
certainly,
the problem.
when you're choosing imagery, you go for the biggest. Like the new Twitter profiles. That's a news story this week. They are finally rolling out. You can now opt in. JT put the link in there for people if they haven't opted in. You got an email probably from Twitter saying, hey, they're here, and you can opt in early and get involved. And lots of people are doing it. Mm-hmm. But when you put that new cover photo for Twitter, I don't know what they're calling that new background, their Facebook-like cover photo, it's 1500 by 1500. That's a good size picture. Mm-hmm. In fact, a lot of your pictures you're taking on your camera phones aren't going to fit that.
Yeah.
They're capable of it, but a lot of times they're being down-resed, and we're finding them in their 1280 by 720 or something like that. And you need to jump that size up. The same thing's true on your cover photo on Facebook.
Yeah,
Make
absolutely.
sure you're getting a good aspect ratio. You're getting lots of a DPI and a really sharp picture. So when somebody jumps on there, even though your message, it shouldn't feel pixelated at all. It shouldn't feel washed out.
Right, absolutely. So you probably know somebody who can help you with that. Should be a pretty simple thing to do for someone who's probably more well versed in Photoshop or another photo editing software. You can do that. Ask around. If not, send us a tweet. We love to try to help you out that way.
Yeah.
So we're going to go down and scroll and look at some of their posts. We won't linger on it too long, but they post very consistently. I mean, every day, every other day, every 2 to 3 days, and all their posts are very relevant to what's going on currently. I mean, they got tons of Easter posts because we just had Easter. Later on, they've got a post here. This is one of my favorite. I'm just gonna stop right here. They shared another page's post and made a comment their own. It's great cause, awesome candles. Even if she does say herself. So there's that personality, a parenthetical, kind of like a thought. That's telling us that she thinks that this is a great cause. She probably made the candles for this cause. This is what I'm gathering here.
Yeah, that's what she did. And she's linking to their article.
Right, but she's linking to their article and saying, hey, check this other foundation out. I believe in this. I think it's awesome. I made the candles for it, yes, but it's a really great thing to go out and support. Yeah. And so she's kind of mobilizing her Facebook, or I'm assuming it's a she because of the way that sometimes women just speak better than men do, and I'm thinking that what she's saying just sounds a lot more natural. So if you're a guy out there, you are an excellent speaker. Good job, keep it up.
But as Dustin tiptoes around, see, I haven't done that in a while. Where I called you Justin. We have a Justin and a Dustin in the office, and I'm often in meetings with you, and I have to think to myself, which consonant am I going to put at the beginning of this name? All right. Now I like their imagery, lots of pictures, consistent articles, and it doesn't look like they're using Facebook ads.
Right.
I can't tell that for sure. And the reason I don't see that is I don't see big bumps on any of their posts when they're advertising anything that jumps up and they suddenly have 50 or 60 likes. They pretty are consistently, here's a 43. And those, it looks like their coverage, is my guess, is all natural and organic. They would be an ideal candidate because I was looking at their website, because of what they do on their website, and you can do quick orders and online orders and checkout right from their website, for doing Facebook ads. And not only taking that several, 2,500 plus, hopefully 3,000, 5,000 as they continue to grow, but saying, I'm going to make really strategic ads advertising things that we're selling and that people can get. And you can target it just to your current community, or they can begin to bridge out and say, look, this may be something that people are interested in, because Facebook allows that.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of targeting mechanisms. And we'll put a show together someday about actually using Facebook ads. But to me, 5B and Company candle makers absolutely should be doing Facebook ads. I wouldn't say they have to do Twitter ads right off the bat, because I don't think Twitter ads drive as much sales as Facebook ads. I think that Pinterest would be a great place for them to grow some new community and create some ideas, and even gain ideas for how they're putting their pictures together. Because I occasionally see them asking for questions or suggestions, or people in the comments saying, hey, do you have this? And Pinterest would be a place to do some research on that. And I think Instagram and Pinterest, they should be. Now, let's throw out some wild and crazy ones. Any reason they should ever do anything on Snapchat?
You know what? That is a crazy one. From what I can tell, they have a very engaged Facebook following.
Yeah.
All their followers are very engaged, so why not? If you've got people who are willing to connect with you and who want to connect with you and share what you say and comment on what you put up and like your posts, why not give them free specials for being friends with you on Snapchat?
And it depends on your age. I would say most like we've learned that Snapchat tends to be 13 to 25.
Sure.
And so if you are getting that type of following, I wouldn't feel like by looking at them and having never been in their store, never ordered from them, that's the target audience they're going for. If they choose to say, you know what, we have a series and a line of products that we're going to skew younger, jump in on Snapchat. Yeah. But
even
if you're gonna, I would say it's. If you hire a full-time social media person, then maybe do that.
Sure.
If you don't, or you hire a company that's willing to give you 5 hours a week of doing Snapchat, I would say make sure you're on Instagram and Pinterest before you jump into Snapchat.
Any sort of exclusivity that you can offer to your followers, though, is going to be incredibly powerful. So maybe it's not Snapchat, maybe another platform you decide to go and like Instagram Direct and give away free deals. 50% off or 25% off, coupons, whatever, because that makes people even more endeared to your brand.
What
about Snapchat's great for that, but there are other things you can do.
And like 15-second, I'm just thinking of ideas for them. 15-second Instagram videos of how they make their candles. So they take 5 seconds as the wax is being, melted and warmed up. 5 seconds as they pour in the scents and do that, and 5 seconds as it, it's kind of almost like a time lapse, but miniature. You could be really creative with that, and then it's a way to announce new products, or you could have contests, or there's all kinds of things you could do on Instagram and Pinterest. And as I start thinking out loud, and that's what we're doing. And literally,
absolutely.
I have not looked at all that much stuff. So we're going to jump into, and this is I'm going to pronounce this. Badhayati. It's Bodhayati. You can yoga. Badhayati Barbados Yoga and Island Wellness Retreats. Awaken, play, connect. Now I went to Portland and Portlandalliance.org. They actually have a really good Chamber of Commerce website, and I was just looking for small business, and I found this. So she's a member of the small business in Portland, Oregon.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I don't do yoga, and if I tried to do yoga, it would be a sight to behold probably, and you could laugh at me.
Dustin and
Everyone could laugh at me. It's okay. Really neat concept. We talked about this before we got started. Really neat concept in that she's from Portland, Oregon, but what she does is these retreats to do yoga in the Barbados.
Yep.
How many people want to get away from Portland, Oregon in the winter to go do a retreat? That's a brilliant idea in itself.
Yeah. And so she has a Twitter account and I believe a Facebook account. Twitter at this point only 16 tweets, and her earliest tweet was
in February?
Yeah, so she's been around here since February 12th. So not a huge amount of tweets. She looks like she goes in spurts every couple days. She does something. April 7th and April 17th are the last 2 tweets. So not using an incredible amount. Has 152 followers. For someone who's only got 16 tweets and is following 660, to have 152 followers. I'm going to guess that if we dig deep into those 152 followers, because she's following so many people, she is getting a lot of people that are just following back because she followed them.
Yeah.
Here's what I love. Is that I was able to find this company and I'm able to engage them on Twitter, and we'll follow, and I think we tweeted out that we're talking about Linda today. She has a unique opportunity. She has a unique business, certainly. Yoga is very popular, and there are a lot of yoga studios, a lot of Pilates studios, a lot of unique things that are blending of that, from just ones that are just yoga and then those that are doing all kinds of things. And I have dabbled in yoga and found that I am very unflexible and been convicted that I should do it more. So I don't have like a huge experience, and my yoga experience is where I type in yoga into YouTube and I do the yoga through the YouTube. I've not gone and taken a class or anything like that.
Yeah.
I haven't committed. P90X yoga, that is one of my experiences.
I was going to say, some of those workout videos, stretching sometimes feels like yoga to me because I'm so inflexible. So we're in the same boat together. Like you said, really cool idea, really cool business concept. Twitter, obviously she's learning. If you have any questions out there, Linda, feel free to tweet at us. We're glad to help. We're glad to offer any suggestions. We love your concept. Not to mention the pictures of the beaches and the beautiful blue oceans that you share, and that is your cover photo on Facebook. Makes me jealous.
Yep. And because she's advertising the next women's retreat is June 15th to 21st, 2014. So if you're interested in being involved in what they're doing there, here's what I'm going to say. One, on Twitter, there are some mistakes, I think. She has a pretty cool logo. The problem with her logo is it doesn't to being in a small icon size. It's kind of hard to read. And especially when you take this, we're looking at this on a 13-inch MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
But if we put this on my phone and was looking at, I would not be able to read her logo. And
Sure.
so taking some type of extrapolation of her logo, it's a cool logo. It looks great on a t-shirt. There may need to be some way to make that a little more representable on a Twitter profile.
Yeah.
And then maybe using that full logo as part of your as your cover photo, both on Twitter and on Facebook.
Absolutely.
That would be some way to do that. I also think that as she grows as a business, and I think she's a fairly new business and starting out, and Linda, this feels weird just talking because you gave us your name through your Twitter account. We don't know you, we've never connected with you, and you see, I think it looks like it's a young company. You're starting out. Certainly as many high quality original images, and what I don't know is, what was hard to tell is, are these images things that you just grabbed from somewhere else, or are these your own? And because I see these great beach photos, like as your cover photo, and you're posting a series of pictures advertising what you are, but it doesn't seem to communicate to me these are unique and original to the
And that
company.
one's not. That one was a Windows background there
Yeah.
for a while. But this is on an article, so it's not hers that she's trying to share. So
So,
yeah, it's hard to tell.
Investing in a $50 to $100 camera, you can go and get the digital SLRs and get really high quality, and I love that. But just something, or making sure you have your iPhone 4 or higher, or one of the newer Android phones, and you get that really sharp pictures that you can get, and just start thinking, how can I take pictures that are original to us? So when you have your next retreat, June 15th to 21, and there may be, the retreat, you don't want to, hey guys, everybody strike a pose, and yoga doesn't exactly give itself. But think of ways, okay, I need to create some imagery that's going to promote myself as a business if you want to grow and be able to do that. And then create community, because I think yoga, my guess is, and I haven't done the research on this, there are lots of interconnections that you could make across the board in Twitter and in Facebook that are groups and in communities. And I would think you should have an Instagram account, and then you should have a Facebook account that's connected to a lot of other yoga things. And it does she does seem to have some connection. She likes some other things.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I think you're doing really well out there, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name of this business, is that she's sharing lots of content. She's sharing lots of other people's content that are relevant to her.
Right.
This most recent one is about this garden that she wants to visit the next time they go down to the Barbados.
Yeah.
That's really cool. It's information about the garden. It brings this connection, sort of okay, this is a person who's going to help me. We're going to go have these real experiences. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great time. She even says, can't wait to share this beautiful, magical garden on our next yoga and wellness retreat.
Yeah. And
really great overall strategy and thought.
I'm just going to guess that there is a struggle, because one of the things she would want to be able to do is tell the story of what's happening on this wellness and retreats. Though counterproductive to a relaxation, yoga, and wellness retreat is being active on social media during the wellness and health.
Sure.
So you're going to have to think strategically around that. I'm going to guess that she's not going to want to take her customers that are coming to her and say, hey, can you guys all join Twitter and up my clout score?
Right.
So you're going to have to think strategically about how you use social media and what you do during the event, just grabbing quick pictures and then posting afterwards. So maybe during the event you take little notes. I'm going to update, these are the 12 things we did, but I'm not going to do it live while it's happening. But I'm going to do it the next week. And these are the things that help people relax.
Yeah.
And these are the things that people came back refreshed. And share testimonials. Have people share on Facebook on their personal accounts, and then share that on your accounts. There's all kinds of things to do.
Overall, pretty good for a young business just starting out.
We're not trying to be critical. We're saying I think the imagery can be stronger. I think you can use Instagram. I think she could definitely be involved, because I know there's all kinds of stuff in exercise and yoga and relaxation on Pinterest. Jump into the Pinterest community. I would jump in there probably and spend more time there than I do Twitter. And if I'm going to rate I'll answer this question after that. But if you're going to rate the top time amounts that they should spend on social media, so spend the most time on X social platform, and then the least amount of time. What are the top three for this company?
Well, I'm going to go out there on a limb and say start with Facebook, because generally probably your target market is going to be using Facebook a good amount.
Right.
And then I would go to Pinterest next, especially for this sort of community. And then after that, you kind of get a toss up between Instagram and Twitter. So I'd probably go Instagram and then Twitter.
Okay, so we haven't talked about Google Plus, and we didn't, with our first company, we didn't say they should be on Google Plus, and really everyone should at least have a presence on Google Plus. This, to me, I would guess, for the way that Google Plus does, and I haven't looked in Google Plus for doing this, but I'm going to guess there's some really interesting communities and interaction that go on around yoga and around relaxation and around travel, because this is really a merging of travel and yoga and retreats and relaxation, and you're trying to get in on that. I wonder if Google Plus might rank. I agree. Facebook number one.
Yeah.
I wonder if, because of the opportunity that Google Plus gives for interaction and community, maybe that's there. I don't know. That would be something I would for sure look at. But Pinterest, jump into Pinterest.
Yeah.
That would be my first thing. You have Facebook, you have Twitter. Tighten up what you do, give it a little better imagery, start targeting, where you go. At this point, I wouldn't run ads. You're not quite ready for that yet. As you grow your brand a little longer, some Facebook ads and advertising your specific, these are our retreats and it costs this much, and you could probably do your sales directly through Facebook and you could drive that. What I was noticing when looking at your website is, I wonder if you had a link to your Facebook and you had a link to your Twitter, but I think it would be good to have the live streams on there, and I don't believe they're on there anywhere. WordPress has some plugins that would actually, because you're using a WordPress site, that would actually allow you to take this and have your content and have vibrant and dynamic content from your social media right on your website. And I think that would be a good thing. Other than that, oh man, the pictures. This is just cruel to look at this today.
I know it.
Man, I would really, obviously this is not geared toward us, but Awaken, I like her tag, Awaken, Play, Connect.
Yep.
That sounds like that's refreshing, and doing that on the beach in Barbados.
Can't go wrong there.
We would love doing that. So
yeah.
So let's move on.
Yep.
We've been in Portland, Oregon. We've been in Kansas City, and we are headed to
Athens, Georgia.
Athens, Georgia. I have not been to Athens, Georgia.
I've not either.
But my sister is moving there and going to be. She and her husband just took jobs at the University of Georgia there, and they're going to be there. So I'll be visiting there sometime probably later this summer. So that's why I chose Athens, Georgia, and how I found Classic City Detail and Customs.
So, everybody likes to see a really cool car, right? Something that's tricked out, something that's really in good shape. I mean, there's a stark difference between a car that's in really good shape and a car that's not in really good shape. These guys apparently make a car look awesome, and from their slider on their website, I would agree with that. They look pretty good. They look like they do a really nice job. They do have Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube links. They're kind of hidden and buried on their website. So that's something that if you're watching or you see this show, get those things up to the top and do some visual stuff with those.
Yeah, and use if you're not using the bird for Twitter, because you gotta give people the bird. Let's just say that, all right? If you're not using the bird, well, you're just missing out.
Right.
If you're not using the Facebook icon F, people are looking for that.
Yeah.
And it should be above the fold. In this case, it's not above the fold, and that simply means that you have to scroll down to get to it.
Right.
Facebook and Twitter on your website should be, and it should be both. Your website should be prominent on your Facebook and Twitter, and the same way your Facebook and Twitter should be prominent on your website.
Right.
Now, we jumped over first to Twitter.
Yeah.
And we find out that the person in charge of CC Detail is Andy Blankenship. And so my first question is this. Andy obviously owns CC Detail, and he is using his name as, this is a mixture business personal account.
Yeah.
What do you think? Good practice, bad practice?
You know what? If his name is attached to the brand and people know that this is his shop and they trust him, great. I have no problem with that. I do think that you have to be careful in this sort of situation, because if you don't have a separate Twitter account that's for you personally, your brand and your voice can get mixed and send the wrong message really easily. So you really have to tiptoe around it. To me, not a huge deal. I'd prefer to see his account separate from his business account. But again, like I said, if it's a small business and he's the face and people are like, I'm going to go to Andy's shop and get my car fixed up, okay, then that's okay. Well, then I can be okay with it, I guess.
Yeah. Now, I certainly would be interested in seeing a study sometime, and maybe somebody's done this out there. Is there value? Because I remember when Mashable first started, Pete Cashmore, who started it, everything was branded with his name. Now, that's changed since they've grown. But he had an identity, he had some past, and people were connected to him.
Right.
I think there is a time where it's connected to a personality, and I wonder at a place like this, when you go and are looking for detailing, you want to trust the person who's doing that detailing.
Sure, absolutely.
And if I am going to do detailing in Northern Indiana, I'm not going to do search for someone who's doing it in Athens, Georgia, most likely.
Right.
So I think in this case there may be a benefit to having your name connected to it, but then you don't start sharing personal things or political things on there. Keep your brand and your person's. Or if you don't do that, if you don't choose to do that, everybody can make their choice. Obviously, there are businesses that choose to keep their politics and their personal life and everything all interconnected. I think there are some benefits to not doing that.
Right,
sometimes.
I absolutely agree with you, and I think that he does a good job with this here. He doesn't. There's not a lot of anything that I've seen that seems to be his own thoughts, his own personal thoughts. In fact, there doesn't seem to be anything on his Twitter feed that seems to be a native tweet. Unfortunately for CC Detail, they have every single one of their posts linked from their Facebook account. So they've obviously linked their Twitter to their Facebook, they post to Facebook, and it zings it over to Twitter, and they never have to think about Twitter again.
And so they're not engaging an audience, and they only have 60 followers. And in this case, what they're saying is, we're just going to be on Twitter for the sake of being on Twitter so we can say we're there. What's interesting is it took us a while to find their Facebook page, because on their website, how I found them, again, Athens Chamber of Commerce, find a company that's interesting, click on their website. I went down, clicked on their Twitter account, found their Twitter account, clicked on their YouTube channel, was on their YouTube channel, clicked on their Facebook link, and it's broken. And couldn't find their Facebook page. Now, we were able to find their Facebook page because everything from their Twitter account is from their Facebook page. And on their Facebook page, they have, so first, fix your link on your website. You should always make sure that those things are working. And my guess is what happened by looking at it is Facebook has changed how they allow linking to, and it looks like what their old name was. They must have changed their name on Facebook, and they haven't updated their URL. That's a simple fix. Now, they have 520 likes on Facebook. And they have a little bit of interaction. I wouldn't say it's a huge amount of interaction.
No, not really at all. But for having 520 likes, it's not terrible. Big glaring thing right at the very beginning. Again, not trying to be super critical or like beat you up or anything. You gotta.
But Dustin's a critical guy.
I am not a critical guy.
Okay, no, he's not. He actually is not. And forcing him to like tell you what to do is one of the hardest things. But he has great ideas, and he noticed that the mistake right away on the Facebook page is
no cover photo, none at all. It's just completely blank. But I tell you what, first of all, it was hard to find your page, and that's only gonna hurt you. Secondly, no cover photo. The first thing I see when I land here is a blank gray background and your logo small over on the left. Doesn't give me a ton of confidence in what you're capable of doing. Now, if I'm a standard person, a regular person, I see this and I go, oh, I don't know about this, and I bounce, right? I click the back button. It feels like I've landed somewhere I shouldn't. But if you look at their reviews, they have a 4.7
they have 15
star
ratings,
15 ratings, so that's great. They have good ratings. 520 likes isn't that much, but if you take the opportunity to scroll down, their quality of their pictures is actually really nice. They actually do a really good job of taking pictures of their work, talking about the type of car that it is, what they're doing to it, what the project is, and putting up a really quality picture, and people seem to like that. But overall, they do a really nice job talking about what they do, sharing what they're working on, and the success that they're seeing. And that's great. That's exactly what you want to do. But boy, you got to get that cover photo up there. Otherwise, people are going to land on your page and bounce out of there, and they're never even going to look at what you do.
Classic City and Detail Customs, let's talk some use cases for this. If you're looking to brand and use social media for a detailing company, what are some of the most important things that you can do to tell your story and how you're doing it? And then we'll look and see whether they're doing it or maybe some suggestions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, first of all, you're working on probably high-end cars. So if you're trying to brand and position yourself that way, like we just talked about just a minute ago, high-quality pictures of successful work, yes. As far as positioning yourself, something that you mentioned there, positioning yourself on Facebook and Twitter, for me, you got to be more consistent, because you do quality work and you're working on cars every single day, and people don't get to see that. I mean, we want to probably see the people who are working on our cars. We want to get to know them. We want to know their name. We want to know why we can trust you and the people that are working on our cars, and the quality of the products. Are you using what was this subwoofer? They didn't even tell us the brand of the subwoofer. That's something that builds credibility.
There may be some limitations to what you're allowed to say and what you're not. I don't know. I have no idea if they're proprietary type things that you're using. But for sure, you help people through the process. And help them think, hey, I want to do that with my car. And you're ultimately telling them the story that customer A came in and needed this done on their car, and I did this for them, and they leave a happier person.
Yeah.
And how do you tell that story both visually on Facebook, on Twitter, and then how do you connect with other? If there's someone else, I think this is an ideal place where you can advertise for other companies because they're not really competition for you.
Right.
If you can go find other detail companies, I haven't done it, but I'm going to assume that you could find a detail company from Phoenix that's doing really cool work, that's posting some pictures, and you can say, hey, look what they did over here. And they're not competition because, you know what, detail work is actually local. People aren't going to drive from Phoenix to Athens,
Right.
Georgia, and vice versa. And so you can start creating a community and interconnection with companies that are doing these things. I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and two, that gives, first of all, it'll give you fresh ideas as a small business, but it'll also possibly get the idea into somebody's head, man, someone out in Phoenix painted racing stripes on their Camaro that looks sweet.
Yeah.
I want to do that to my car too. And it gives you like you said, it gives you that connection that you're building with other companies, but it also maybe walks somebody into the process as well as walking them through the process.
Yeah. Additional platforms, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you should be on Google Plus because you're a physical location and you should make sure, and I didn't go to see, you're not linking that you are, and it may just be that you've created a page and you're not, because I don't know that you have to spend a lot of time on Google Plus.
No, not necessarily.
You just should be on there for SEO reasons, making sure people, when they search for they're looking for automobile detailing and they click in Athens, Georgia, and they should find you first.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
want to do whatever you can do to make sure you're there. So this is the end of our 3 random ones we found, and we wanted to end up today. And first, thank you guys who didn't volunteer, and we just found you randomly, and hopefully you got a little value if you end up watching this. We would love for you to contact us. We'd help you out for a little bit for free. Eventually, if you want enough work, we'd ask you to pay us. But we are just trying to give value out there and get good ideas. But we wanted to end with 2 things. These are not companies that we do their social media specifically, but they are local-based companies that we think do a great job on social media. And we love what they do and how they do it. So we're going to first talk about Mud Love and maybe explain what Mud Love is and some of the things that you think they do a great job on the social media side.
Let's pull up there because I'm not going to botch what they do. I'm going to let them tell us. I think, as far as I understand it, I know they're a local company, and they make these. Actually, I'm wearing a Mud Love bracelet that basically is made out of mud, and then they've printed onto it. But they support all kinds of nonprofit organizations through their business, as I understand it. So,
and the foundation, they've expanded a little bit, but the foundation of their business is a certain percentage of it, I think it's 20% of their income goes to water in Africa.
That's right.
And they've been working with, originally the company was called ICDI, and we'll talk about them here in a second. They've changed their name to Water for Good. But they have said, look, we're not just going to make great products and cool products, and they've kind of become these bands they do all kinds of artistic. They have mugs and all kinds of things that you would see made out of clay, but they start with these simple bands that they can put all kinds of messages, and a lot of them are, this one is like a screen of our logo and it says Pay Pro Media on it. But they also do things like just say hope. I bought my kids ones and I went and found, so one, my daughter's, it says read, and my son said basketball, and my other daughters said dream. And I had my youngest son, who was only 1, I didn't buy a bracelet this year for.
He'd probably chew on it.
But I just didn't want him to feel left out. But I was able to take messages that there were specifically, I thought, resonated with them, and they have all kinds of them.
Sure,
and what I love about their social media, and they're great on Twitter, they're great on Facebook, and they're great on Instagram, Mud Love is, at least in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Is that they use those little wristbands in such creative ways in their imagery, and not only promoting sometimes other organizations or other days or what's going on, but they actually are promoting their product by promoting a unique message and something.
And
they
what's
can
really
do.
cool? What's really cool is that these bracelets, they like you said, they expanded. They do so much more than these bracelets, but these actually are, I think, from my opinion, when I see this, is their brand.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where they started. You see it in almost all their images, almost all their imagery, and actually on their Facebook page. Since I'm logged into my personal Facebook, I have 49 friends that are connected to my love pottery. One of my friends' profile image is his hand going into his pocket with a Mud Love bracelet.
Right.
And that just goes to show you the reach and the impact that something so simple as a clay bracelet can have, because people believe in the mission and people believe in what they're trying to do, and they're like, I get to support this. I'm going to wear this proudly. because I know that it's doing something more than just looking stylish and modern and a little bit kind of cool and retro on my wrist.
Yeah, and here, what Mud Love does very well is they use their products in unique ways to tell stories on their Facebook page and on their Twitter and in their Instagram. They're really good at all those three platforms, and they're on other places too. They're really good at using hashtags. They're really, what I love, they just recently crossed over the 8,000 number of likes on Facebook. And when they did that in the last couple of days, they created a unique image with their little band number 8,000, and then gave a discount for those who were using that on their website, 10% discount, celebrating that they had 8,000 likes on Facebook. They're doing some great stuff. They interconnect with all kinds of other organizations. They, when they go out and they make a set of mugs for a coffee shop down in Huntington, the coffee shop shares those things, and then they reshare it, and they can interact, and they just do a great job. Their imagery is really strong. Their messaging is they are always connected to what day it is. So when it's Earth Day, they have something connected to that. When it's Easter, they have something connected with that. If there's another event going on, they just recently merged two of their companies and opened a new type of store called Be Love, and they just did a wonderful job making sure everybody knew about that through social media. So we wanted to check them out, but we want to give them a little plug because they just do a great job, and they're a great company that doesn't have a lot of sites. They're growing. Obviously they're growing rapidly, I think. Looks like to me. I don't know. They continue to do really well at using social media to grow their business.
Yeah. So for small business owners out there, check out Mud Love Pottery for a really good example of what you can actually turn your social media presence into. I mean, this is a small local company with a great mission and a great product, and they're using social media so powerfully. So use this as an example. Really awesome stuff. The nonprofit that you said that they are supporting also does a nice job.
Yeah, they're when you're doing Africa and you're in Africa and you're giving water, you have a great opportunity to use great imagery in all your posts, and they do it. They knock it out of the park. I'm looking at the top of their Instagram feed, and it's everything from people carrying the new fresh water to the trucks that are coming in to drill the wells to maintenance teams that are serving the new, the wells that need some repair, to the faces of the children that are being served and the families, and all of that is something that is so powerful. I really like what they do of making sure that it's a visual, we're looking at their Instagram account here, but it's a visual representation of their mission.
Yep.
They do a really good job at connecting and telling their story. And they're a nonprofit that's focused
and that's the beauty of what they do.
And they're focused on bringing clean water to people that don't have it in Africa, and specifically in Central Africa. And they tell that story really well, and helping to solve the water crisis, that they say. Yeah, it just
goes to show you, even nonprofits, there's no excuse for not doing excellent work on social media. I mean, you can be a nonprofit, you can be a small business, you can be a large business, but if you take the time, focus the energy, and have a plan, you focus on, in Water for Good's case, their mission and sharing their mission visually and what they're trying to do visually. If you have a plan and you stick to it, and it's going to take time and effort and energy, but it's very rewarding and it pays off.
So Water for Good does a great job of telling other stories. Like here's a Time.com story about the atrocities that are happening in Central African Republic. And certainly when you're a nonprofit and you're working in international work, so you're working as an NGO, non-government organization in these countries, tying to other people's credibility. So this is a Time story. Then telling your own story and what you're doing. And the connection between Mud Love Pottery and Water for Good is very strong, and they do a good job connecting with each other. And obviously, Water for Good is the beneficient of how successful Mud Love is being. And so we're very thankful that is happening, and they do a good job of helping each other out when it comes to, but they're two separate organizations, and my understanding, the social media is not run by the same people.
No.
Like we said, we chose local organizations that we don't have anything. We're not doing any of their social media, but we just think they do a great job.
Yeah, they really do a great job. They're great examples for you to look at. And really, shameless plug, Water for Good is a great organization if you're looking for something to support and partner up with your small business. I'm sure they're interested in having conversations with you and how everybody can work together to bring water to Africa. So really cool stuff.
Yeah. And so this is what we want to do. Every once in a while, every couple of weeks, probably every 4 to 6 weeks, we just take time and we look at specific accounts, some that we spend time in, and I know I'm a follower of both Mud Love and Water for Good, and then 3 today that we had never met,
Yeah.
never interacted
Never
with,
before
have
in our
no
whole
connection with. And in fact, several of them I've been to Portland and I've been to Kansas City, I guess, but I've never
been to
interacted.
any of those cities.
So what we love to do is help people and try to give some value back and dream about how you can use social media to fulfill your mission. And we'd love to interact with you. So come on out, jump into the Twitter stream, Twitter at salcha.com. You can go to twitter.com/salcha. You can go to facebook.com/salcha. You can go to find Dustin in all kinds of places.
Yeah, you can find me in all kinds of places. Twitter at Dustin Hickle. LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn too. I love Google+, so let's circle up on Google+. You can find me, Dustin Hickle.
And what we really want you to do is engage. So we're going to start streaming these as often as we can live. We're going to try to fix our streams. We're going to try to promote that and let you know that we're out there. We want you commenting, interacting with us on Twitter, on Facebook, however the places we may be able to interact with us. And we want to start covering things that are more practical to the small and medium businesses we're trying to serve. So help us to think through those things. We'll cover the news stories. We'll tell you the new Twitter profiles out there. We'll make sure that you know if Facebook does something new and crazy and buys a giant new company like Snapchat or something like that. Probably not going to happen after they've bought all those things, but it may happen. We'll tell you when Twitter finally, like I said, by the end of the month, they have down to just a few days, and that they're going to update their app. That's still my prediction. We'll see if that happens.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet. I'm getting
Not
a little
yet.
nervous.
Getting
All
close.
right. But we love it that you will hopefully join us. A few of you are watching this live on YouTube, but not live. We'd love it if you'd be able to join us on Thursday mornings. We really want you to interact with us. We want to interact with you, and hopefully we have a great social media conversation. For Dustin, I'm Nate. Thanks for watching Informe, a social media conversation. We'll see you next time.